If there's one thing that I can't bear, and that is hypocrisy. I have reached a point where I cannot keep quiet anymore. And I need to share this with each and every one of you. I feel that it's important that you know the real facts on the table, and you can then decide for yourself what you believe and what you want to believe. It's going to be shocking what I'm going to share with you, and there's even going to be some of our supporters who's going to say that we're not going to support you anymore, we're going to leave. And if you're one of them, then it's fine. You will not be missed. Because I am very, very serious about the fact that our previous Chief Justice, Mogoeng Mogoeng, has been very much in the news over the period of lockdown. Many people have come out and said that he is our savior. He is the one who's going to expose this whole corruption that is currently going on. And people have confided in him. They really trust him. People, the personal interaction that I have had over the past couple of years with erstwhile Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng is not very nice. Firstly, way back in 2017, we have referred a complaint regarding judicial corruption and judicial maladministration in the courts, the High Court of Pretoria to be exact, where two judges have been implicated in a possible issuing of fake judgments. That complaint was forwarded to his office and he did absolutely nothing about it. We then reported the Chief Justice to the South African Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission realized the problem we had and the urgency of the matter, and they have then said that the Court Administration Department is the correct one to deal with this. And sadly, this department is also settled in the office of the Chief Justice, and again nothing happened. This matter eventually went to the High Court. It ended up in the Constitutional Court, and notwithstanding that our papers in the Constitutional Court then specifically complained about Mogoeng Mogoeng and him not attending to the issue, he was part of the decision-making bench, part of the quorum that they call it, who have dismissed our application. And when we have escalated this to the African Union, which was then eventually ceased formally during March 2019, in the decision of the African Union, they specifically highlighted the issue that Mogoeng Mogoeng did nothing about our complaint, and they also confirmed that our concern was that he was supposed to recuse himself from the bench because of the fact that the complaint involved him as well. So he could never have been part of a decision that dismissed our Constitutional Court challenge. So at that point, we were sure that something is terribly wrong in our judiciary, because if the Chief Justice knows well that there are possibilities of corruption amongst judges, he is then part and parcel of the problem. And strangely, in September 2019, together with two other judge presidents, one was Mlambo and the other one was the judge president of the Free State Division, During September 2019, Mogoeng Mogoeng had a conference, a media conference, in which he was very angry that there were allegations floating the social media that there's judicial corruption going on, and he then advised the media then that he, as the Chief Justice, is not aware of one single complaint of judicial corruption that was before him, and he would have dealt with it. He never told the media then that he was well aware of the fact that the African Union in March that year already seized a complaint against judicial corruption above others, and that he was well aware of those complaints. So he openly lied, not to the media, but to the people of South Africa. To take this matter a step further, during that same period, September 2019, he was the one who wrote the judgment in the Constitutional Court for the entire bench, which have declared that mild chastisement of a child, as prescribed in various religions, among other the Christianity, in my belief system of Christianity, whereby he was the one who decided that the Constitution and the government were more important than the Bible. The scriptures which says that a Christian should chastise his child were not enough for Mogoeng Mogoeng, this open and straightforward Christian these days, and he was the one who brought an end to it effectively, which was merely supported by the other judges. So what he is saying on the one side that his Christianity is very important to him, and attacking all these vaccinations going on, and even made statements that it's coming from Satan, etc., etc. Unfortunately, it does not correlate, it does not add up with his previous decision in the Constitutional Court in respect of the Christian, above others, the Christian religion. And then we also have the lately. What happened was that he came out and said that the entire national state of disaster is unconstitutional. Ramaphosa and Dlamini-Zuma overstepped their authority, and everyone came out making a Mexican wave, and they are so happy that he's going to be our savior out of this. The reality is that Liberty Fighters Network, in our court challenge in the Constitutional Court, after we went from the High Court through to the Supreme Court of Appeal, up to reaching the Constitutional Court, completed the full process. In our papers, we have specifically addressed each and every wrong of this national state of disaster declaration. We have attacked the entire process, and that whole application was under the attention of Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng, as he was then known. We even have a sheriff's return to prove that his office, his legal advisors working in his office, have received a letter addressed to him that we have written to him in connection with that very case. He had the opportunity to have seized our matter to be heard in the Constitutional Court as the Chief Justice. And he never did that. Now he is challenging the national state of disaster and telling everyone that it's unlawful. But when he had the opportunity to have brought an end to this national state of disaster, when we brought our application before him and the rest of the entire Constitutional Court, it was not accepted and our case was dismissed on 2 occasions without giving one reason for that. People, Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng, or as he was known then, as the Chief Justice of the country, he has got the highest, or probably the highest, rate of clearance, security clearance. He even interacts directly with state security agencies. He is probably on the same level of security clearance as the state president himself. And if he knows, he will definitely know what is going on with this lockdown that we are still facing almost 2 years down the line. If he is so on our side, why doesn't he come out up front and tell the entire nation what is happening, what is behind COVID-19 measures? Why does he not do that? Why did he not pursue, after he left office, why did he not pursue the issues surrounding the candidate vaccines, which are currently being forced upon thousands of our people, where thousands of our people are losing their jobs because of these vaccines, forced vaccines that's going on? Why does he not come out? I tell you why he's not coming out. Because Mogoeng Mogoeng is controlled opposition. If he really has the interest of the people at heart, he would come out and tell us exactly what is behind this whole measures and not attack Ramaphosa, Dlamini-Zuma and all the seniors in the ANC, in the media. He will come out in the media and tell us all what is going on. He's got the means of getting the word to us. But unfortunately, he is not. People, I've said this so many times, that the legal fraternity of South Africa cannot be trusted. The legal fraternity has captured our courts. All the judges who are being appointed are and were members of their respective legal fraternities, either the sidebar or the bar. And they are brought up to respect and protect their fellow brothers and sisters. And the moment when you are alleviated to a point of Chief Justice, you will never reach that point if you cannot be compromised. If you cannot be corrupted, you will not be elected to be a Chief Justice. That's the reality. Any position for that matter of high ranking in South Africa and all over the world will not have a person there which cannot be compromised. They will make sure that the person that is elected as the Chief Justice can be easily compromised and can be controlled. And we have seen it firsthand that Mogoeng Mogoeng was controlled in our very own Constitutional Court case, not once, not twice, but thrice. People, if you still like erstwhile Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng, and you think that what I've shared with you is a total poppycock, then let it be. But I cannot have this information and not share it with all of you. I've got the written proof, above others in affidavit format, to confirm all these things. I've got a decision by the African Commission on Human and People's Rights to confirm what I have said about him. So, all this information can be made available to anyone who's interested in receiving it. We will even put it on our website for anyone to download and to investigate. But my support for Mogoeng Mogoeng will never happen. I don't trust him at all. I totally believe that he is part of the controlled opposition, and he's there even the time when he objected towards the vaccines. His whole method of doing it was so ridiculous that he in fact ridiculed all anti-vaxxers. He made all anti-vaxxers conspiracy theorists in the eyes of many other people. He did not contribute to fighting against all these forced vaccinations and the vaccinations as such. He made more trouble. He made it more difficult. And now that he's coming out to say that the national state of disaster was unconstitutional and invalid, people, we've got the proof that it was in his office addressed to him. And he was supposed to address it, and he did not. I will share with you all this information on our website. Please, if you like this video, please share it, subscribe to our channel, and also ring the bell in case you'd like to be notified of any further videos in future. Stay safe. God bless.